in this video we will see how to get a pattern for a hollow square. So here in the output we see that only the borders are covered with asterisk in the square. So inside the square there are empty spaces, right? Only the borders have been occupied with asterisk, and inside the square it is totally empty spaces. So how do we print such pattern? It looks very tricky at the beginning, but if you think logically it seems very easy. If you notice, if you notice here at the row, if you take the first row, let us name the row as I, right? If you take the first row is covered with stars, right? The first row is covered with stars. Similarly, the first column, this is your first column, right? So this is your first row and this is your first column. Both row and column, both first row and first column is covered with stars. So I will write here I equal to 1 and j equals to 1, right? So if you see here, the first row and first column both are covered with stars. So we'll write a condition when I equals to 1, right? I mean when I is 1, or when the row is 1, when it is a first row, then I will print star. Similarly, when it is a first column also, I will print star. Now, and this is for first row and first column. Next, if you see the last row and the last column, the last row is 5 depending on the input. Since the input what we have given is 5, so the last row would be 5. So if you see here, the last column and the last row have been printed with a border, right? So when it is a last row, the last row means when I equals to 5, right? When it is a last row and when it is a last column, that is j equals to 5. In such case also I will print the stars or I will print the border pattern. So now I will use these 4 conditions and I will print the border pattern. Now apart from this, if I get any other condition, that should provide me a empty spaces, right? So apart from these 4 conditions, any other condition should provide me a empty spaces. So how I will write a program? For I will take a row where int I equals to 1, which will start with the first row. I less than or equal to n, I plus plus, right? Next, what I'll do, I'll create a column loop where for j equals to 1, j less than or equal to n, right? It is j equal to 1, j plus plus. Now, how to specify this condition? I will specify using if condition, right? And I will differentiate all the 4 conditions using logical OR. Hope you remember what is logical OR. If either of the condition is true, then it will evaluate to true. When all these conditions are false, then it must print B. When all the conditions are false, then it must print the space. But when either of the condition is true, then it must print star, right? So what I'll do, I'll write a condition where I equals to 1, logical OR is represented by a pipeline, where I equals to 1, that is the first row, followed by I equals to the input whatever we are taking. Input is represented by n. Or next, this is for row. Next, when j equals to 1, or when column is equal to the last column, right? So if either of the condition is true, then I will print star. Clear? Then I will print star. When the condition is false, when all the condition goes false, then what I'll print? Then I have to print the spaces, right? After this, I'll come out and I'll print a next line so that the new iteration will start, right? Now, let us see how exactly it works. Yes, here I have created a table. Which will contain all the row and column details. Let us print the output separately here so that it will be clear. Now the first row, first column must be star as per the output. So what is the condition? I equals to 1. So let us check for the first row when I equals to 1, right? When I equals to 1, 1 less than or equal to 5, right? Next, when j equals to 1, it will check for the condition j, that is 1 less than or equal to the value of n, it is 5. Next, it will check for the condition. If either of the condition is true, then it will print me a star. So what is the value of I and j? We have both are 1. So I double equal to 1, the condition is true, right? For the first row, first column, the condition is true. So it will print me star, right? So it will print me star. Next I equal to n, that is I equal to 5 is the what is the value of I we have here? 1. So I is not equal to 5, it will not print, it will print me space. It will print me a space, right? Next, when j equal to 1, what is the value of j we have? That is 1. So 1 is equal to 1, it is true. So it will print me a space. And next what I have, j equals to 5, it doesn't print me anything. So it will print me a space. So here one condition, so here two condition has been matched. Among these four conditions, I equal to 1 and j equal to 1, both the conditions are matched, right? So it will finally print me star. Clear? Now in my output it will print me as star in the first row and first column. Now the condition is false and it will directly, now when it comes to the second row, when j gets incremented, right? Now the first iteration has been completed for j equals to 1. Now j gets incremented to 2. So when j is 2, check for the condition. What is the value of I? The value of I is again 1 over here and j is 2. So I equal to 1 and the value of j is 2. 2 I equal to 1, the condition matches, but the remaining condition fails because j value is 2. But the logical OR will work even if either of the condition is true. So for I equal to 1, the condition matches, right? Next, for any of the condition, it will print me a space. So one condition got matched and finally it will print me star in the second column. Right? This is for j equal to 2. Next, j gets incremented and j gets incremented to 3. You can understand one rule. Here, I is common. I is common, that is the row is common, whereas column is getting deferred. If you see, this is the first row where I equal to 1 and column is getting deferred, first column to fifth column. So blindly you can tell wherever I have a first row, everywhere star gets printed, right? So in the first row star gets printed, right? Whereas coming to the other values, coming to the other rows where it doesn't get printed, you can check when j is 3. When j is 3, you can check for this condition. J is not equal to 5, so it will print me a space. Next, when j is not equal to 1, it will print me a space even in both the cases. So one condition is true and finally it will print me asterisk. Next, when it is a fourth column in first row, so four is not equal to 5, it will print me a space, right? Finally, it will print me a star in the first row, fourth column. And when it is a first row, fifth column, it will print me. So 5 equals to 5, right? So in the first row, fifth column, that is I is 1 and j is 5. Yes. So it will print me a space. Clear? And finally, this will form like this, first row, because here if you see row is common, that is I is common, whereas j equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Clear? So I can blindly tell the row the row I can blindly tell row gets printed with the first row gets printed with star. Clear? And next what will happen? A j gets incremented to 6, but the condition is false. So it will come out and it will go for the next line, that is for the second line, right? Now the value of I gets incremented to 2. Till now it was 1. 2 means it will be pointing to the second row. This is your second row. Clear? Now what happens if you notice in second row only first column and last column I have the star. Only in first column and last column star is printed. In between and all it is totally a blank. So what I'll do, second row first column, right? It is a second row where I is not equal to 1. In such case, where I is equal to 2, right? 2 less than or equal to 5, j equals to 1, j less than or equal to 5. Now check for the condition. What is the value of I and j? I is 2 and j is 1. So 2 is not equal to 1. It will print me space. Next, I is not equal to 5, that is 2 is not equal to 5, it will print me a space. But j value is 1 since it is the first row, so it will print me star, right? Next, j value is 1. The condition is false, so it will print me space. Now, since one condition became true, it will print me star in the second iteration, right? That is for the first row it will print me first row first column, like it will second row second column it will print me a star, right? Now when j gets incremented to 2, I remains same, j gets incremented to 2, right? Now check for these conditions. So I is 2, 2 is equal to 1, it will condition is false, 2 is not equal to 5, right? J is not equal to 1, condition is false, so it will print me a space, and j is not equal to 5 because 2 is not equal to 5, it will print me space. And no condition got evaluated, right? So it will finally print me a space, not star. Next, when it is the third column in second row, third column, that is like if you see here, the value of star in second row, I can neatly tell everything will get printed here, because until and unless it is the last column, it doesn't print anything, right? So it will print a star over here. So none of the condition gets executed, and finally it will print me. So here I can neatly tell it will print me a space, because star would get printed only at the final border, not in between. In between only the space will get printed, right? Now next, it is second row fourth column. Second row fourth column means it will be pointing over. Second row fourth column means it will be pointing somewhere over here. Here the space I am representing using dots, so not to get confused here. So here also I can tell all the conditions goes false, because I is 2 and j is 4. So everything is false. And finally space gets printed. Next what happens? It is a second row fifth column, right? When it is a fifth column, I can neatly tell the space must print, where j equals to 5. J equals to 5 means the condition goes true and space will be printed, right? J equals to 5 and star will be printed. And for the remaining cases, that is which is lying within the border. Within the border means this area is lying within the border. So here all space must be printed, right? So here one condition got evaluated and it will print me star. Now this completes the second iteration. And here it will print me star. Looks like I'm not able to write it here. Let me show you using this output itself. So these were the dots like which I have kept it. 3 dots like which are representing the space. Now enter into third row first column, which are represented by I and J. Now third row first column, what will happen? What is the value of row? That is 3. 3 is not equal to 1. So it will print me space. Next 3 is not equal to 5, which will print me a space. What is the value of J? That is first column. Since it is a first column, it will print me a star. Right? So star gets printed over here. Next it is a fifth column. Right? I mean the last row. Sorry, the last border. And what is the value of column we have? That is J, it is 1. And it is not a last column, right? So it will print me a space. And one condition got true, which will print a star, right? Here if you see, everything gets printed over here. Everything gets printed over the space. And next what you have? Third row, second column. That is, your cursor will be pointing here. Third row, second column. So third row, second column is the condition true. 3 is not equal to 1, so it will print me a space, right? It will print me a space. Next 3 is not equal to 5, again it will print me a space. What is the value of J? 2 is not equal to 1, again it will print me a space. And what is the value of J? 2. What is the value of J? 2 is not equal to 5, so it will again print me a space, right? So none of the conditions get executed and it will print the space. The same will happen for third and fourth column as well, right? Now we are entering in third row, third column and fourth column, right? So cursor would be pointing here. So cursor would be pointing here for the third column and fourth column. For third column and fourth column, it must print me a space. So all these conditions will execute. I can blindly write as a space where none of the conditions get executed, right? The same applies for even fourth column as well, where it will print me a space, right? Now, in the fourth column, it will print me a space. Moving on to third row, fifth column. Third row, fifth column means it will directly evaluate to the condition where J is equal to the 5. Because it is a fifth column. So it will print me star. For remaining all, it will print me space. Right? So one condition got evaluated where it will print star. Now we are done with the third row. Right? Now moving on to fourth row, first column. So in fourth row, first column, what will happen? So what will happen in fourth row, first column? I is 4, J is 1. So I can neatly tell J will get printed. That is the first column would get printed with star. And remaining columns will get printed with space. Right? So the condition got evaluated and it will print me a star. Now moving on to second case where it must print me a space. For the second column, third column and fourth column, for all this column it must print me a space because they are not lying the border, and the condition what we have given, row and column must be equal to either to the first row or to the last row. Clear? They must be equal either to the first or last row, and column must be equal to the first or last column. But here, since it is not a first row, not the first column, not the last row, not the last column. So all these three will go and print space. So here I can directly tell a space would get printed, right? So here space will be printed. Now moving on to the fifth column, fourth row, fifth column, right? Fourth row, fifth column means like I have a condition where j equals to 5. So only here star will get printed, whereas in remaining column space would get printed. Yes. So the condition has been evaluated and it will print me a star. Now moving on to fifth row, first column. The last column would get printed as star, right? Where I is 5, so 5 is equal to 5, right? So it will get printed as a star. It is not a first row. Clear? So it will print me a space in it. It will print me a space initially, right? Next, since it is the first column as well, the value of column is 1, that is j is 1, where 1 equal to 1 and it will print me a star, right? And next j is 5. What is the j is 5? J will be printed, it will print as the last column would be printed as asterisk only when j is 5. So at the last column, like here we see j is 5, right? So here it would get printed, but not in the first column. So here it will print me a space. Here the condition has been evaluated and it will print me a star. Now moving on to the fifth row, second column. Since the value of row remains same, I can blindly tell this will print star, because the fifth row must print me a star, right? So fifth row is getting printed with a star, whereas the remaining values would get printed with a space. This is in terms of fifth row, second column. Yes. And next what you have is fifth row, third column. In fifth row, third column also, like everything will get printed space except the third column. Now moving on to fourth column, where everything will get printed space except for the fourth column, right? Now moving on to fifth row, fifth column. Since it is a fifth row, fifth column, both row and column must print a star, and everything and remain apart from that everything must be a space, right? And since the condition was true, it will print me a star. Finally what you'll see in your console, this is the one like which you'll see in your console. Let me show you on the editor how exactly it looks. So this is the condition like which we have given, and here it is evaluating for the row which is equal to either for the first row or last row. I is 1 means first row and I is n means last row, where j is 1 is the first column and j equal to n is the last column. Always remember, when it is double equal to, it is comparing both the values. If it is just equal to, just like 1 equal to I equal to 1, then it is assigning I to 1. When it is I double equal to 1, then it is comparing the value of I with 1. Here initially the value of I is 1. So 1 is equal to 1. It is true. Next, 1 double equal to 5 or 1 compares with 5, it is false, right? So this is how it works, and let us execute the program. Now let us execute the Now let us provide the input as 5. So here if you see, this is the hello program, this is the hello square program, and these stars have come behind because we cannot see the spaces in the console. Instead of space, let me provide with a dot so that it would be clear for the hollow square pattern to get printed. Now it is 5. Yes. Now if you see, the first row, first column is printed with the stars. Similarly, second row, second column is printed with star, and the center place is occupied with dot, because like if you just provide a space, it looks clumsy. And the last row, last column also is printed with a star, right? You can ignore this space, but only thing is stars would come behind it, but the logic remains correct. Let us execute it one more time, and let us provide the input as 8. So here if you see, it is a 8 hollow square, right? So the first row and the last row, that is 8th row, has been printed with a star, and the first column and the last column, that is the 8th column, has been printed with a star, whereas the center portion has been occupied with a dot or with the spaces. Don't get confused. Take a book and pen. Start tracing the program initially for all the iterations, and make a table where you will get for every row and every column. Then the logic remains very easy, right? Then the logic remains very easy. If you have any doubts, drop them in the comment section. Like, I will clear all your doubts. Till then, keep practicing, and I'll come up with another video in the upcoming series. Thank you.